To me, but this guy is just talking a bunch of big words. And then he's making it sound like you should just know what he's talking about. But it's like he's saying something and then he's negating it at the same time. I mean, which one is it? Asymmetrical or not? I mean, what ventricle, asymmetrical? Then he takes a sip of water. I can't. He's all about the theatrics. Are they trying to determine if he crazy, crazy? They trying to determine if he crazy, crazy, or just crazy, crazy. Bro, he ain't say nothing. He didn't say anything just now. Everyone can be diagnosed like that. Like you reach to a level of, well, not like Wade Wilson, of course, but I'm saying everyone has the ability to be diagnosed as such. Like when you reach your breaking point, you what? You go ham, you explode, you go crazy. In Wade Wilson case, they need to find out what makes it different from any other regular person. Because we all have this. That's why we have to practice discipline. So we don't go ham on people all day, every day. Mental health at a young age. And I mean, I understand all this mental health stuff, but I wasn't really raised with all that mental health. Mental health. Now it's such a big thing on mental health. But you need spirituality, okay? That's what you need in your life. Spirituality will set you in place so you know how to discipline yourself in times that you should. Mental health is just other jargon that they use to feed you more medication and have you talking to quacks, justify why you are the way you are. They don't know answers that can help you, but that man above can, spirituality can. That's my take on it. Yeah, that's important. See, depression, all of this, that's not mental health. That's called you need to go uplift your spirit. Depression, I don't believe in that. It means you're not being grateful. Oh no. You want phone people? What? We got commercials, y'all. So we gonna have to work with what we got right now. And that means okay, we're gonna put a plug in this because we are okay, take a quick pause. That's my brain. Give your girl some grace. It's her first live stream with Wade and Wilson. All right, now we got to put this back on, present, because that way it's something else. Mm. Oh, I see.
Possibility.
Well, it also fits in the realm of other possibilities, doesn't
Why
it?
he don't? Why he just don't say it? Like it's like he withholding that Wade is certified.
Overruled at this point.
Crazy.
Um,
Is it a touchy topic?
what are you talking about? Yeah, this is just one aspect to his behavior. He's gonna have drug use. He's gonna have whatever is going through his head at the time. This is just one aspect that makes him more likely to do something awful than not.
Well, did it
It's
affect
straight
his
up
ability to have
awful.
a relationship with an individual back in October of 2019?
This guy from New York.
It doesn't stop him doing that, but it likely makes him more likely to be tumultuous.
How do you know?
I'm just saying, from his abnormalities, this is behavior that I would expect. I don't know it. I expect it.
Well, did you have?
Nah, that don't make no sense.
corroborate any of
If
it?
you expect
Did
it, that
have
means
the
you know it.
opportunity to
You
speak
can't
with
not know it
the
and
young
then
lady by
expect
the name
it.
of Miss Melissa Martinez?
Make it make sense. This doctor is.
I don't know who that is, so no.
Keep my eye on
But I had an
him. I
opportunity
don't
to
know
see him
about him.
overreact and do things that he didn't want to do just when I was doing the mocha. I saw that behavior right there.
Well, in fact,
Explain this to me. How do
did
you
have an opportunity to
expect
see
something
how he
without
was
knowing?
back in October of 2019?
Don't you gotta know to expect? I mean, I'm bugging out.
I met him
Like,
last
this
week.
doctor is
How am I
like,
supposed to know what he did in 2019?
Well, aren't you here to explain his actions back on the 7th of October of 2019, sir?
Based on his neurological abnormalities only.
You don't know what his ability was and what was going through his head when he went to a music venue that night, did you?
As ventricular asymmetry is typically congenital and atrophy takes time to develop, I would position that this these findings are likely predating 19, probably sometime after he was a teenager.
Well, if they're
Or as a teenager.
predating 2019, you would expect some kind of symptoms to be present at that point in time, would you not?
Impulsiveness, agitation. How do I know it's not there? I would say that
You're the doctor. You need to tell us if he's there or not.
Well,
What the heck is
You
he
didn't bother to go
bouncing
ahead
the
and
question back to him
speak
for?
to Mr. Lukic or Miss Stephanie Johnson, who had contact with him. You didn't have contact with Miss Melissa Montanez, who could tell you a little bit more about her contact with Mr. Wilson, did you, sir?
I did not know them. How am I supposed to contact them?
Well, you had the case report, did you not, sir?
I did not have the case report. No,
You didn't have the case report.
Yeah, I can't
I
even
did not
find
have any of
it.
that. Nope.
Well, share it to me right quick, and then I can do it from there. Wade. So you have
Having a
another level.
deposition yesterday.
They've been
No,
releasing
I don't
these
remember.
phone calls
Yeah, I remember
every
it
day.
yesterday.
All right. Matter of fact, one of the questions I had specifically asked you was whether or not, and I wanted to make sure that I understood you correctly, was that you said you had a criminal justice face sheet, you said you had a case report, you said you had a series of medical records, you had a letter from Mr. Wilson, and then you had a school record. And I asked you if that was accurate.
I had a face sheet, but it was Department of Juvenile Justice face sheet.
I also asked you, sir, whether or not you had a case report. You told me that it was accurate.
Use my hand.
And I must have misspoke because I do not have that.
So you misspoke twice?
Ooh.
It's a record. I have a bunch of records that are all that look like jail medical records that are all a couple hundred pages each of just mundane information. So yes, I misspoke twice.
So getting back to October 7th of 2019, did you have an opportunity to speak to some ladies by the name of Shana Williamson, Dawn Griffin, and Amy Slovenian about what they saw?
I did not. I do not know who they are. I didn't know they were involved, and I did not talk to them. No.
Okay. Did you have an opportunity to review a statement of an officer by the name of Timothy McCormick, which depicted his
No, I did
contact
not.
with Mr. Wilson?
I did not talk to anybody, so I'll save you some time.
Why didn't you speak to
Did you
anyone?
have an opportunity to watch the video of the interaction between the officer and Mr. Wilson?
There's a video? No. I
What
did
the
not. I don't
heck?
have that
This
video.
guy don't need to be on the
Did you have an
stand.
opportunity to watch the video of the interaction that Mr. Wilson had with the audio of the interaction that Mr. Wilson had with Detective Nick Jones?
No.
No.
See, you see how this works?
Did you have an
Based on what
opportunity
he's
to listen
saying,
to
I
any
feel like I
jail
know
records
what he's
that
going to
Mr.
say
Wilson
next.
had made
So
to
I
you
expect
that
him to say no. That's because you know. You can't know
you had an
without
opportunity to
expecting.
review any of the
Can't expect
emails,
without knowing.
numerous emails that Mr. Wilson has gone ahead and sent out.
Look, he's scratching his head. This guy don't need to be on the stand. I don't know
Didn't
what
have
y'all
them,
did,
so
what
no.
y'all done did. If y'all trying to let Wade get away, I just don't understand.
So if he was able to recount details of the murder and those details were backed up with evidence, you'd agree with me that his executive functioning or his ability to remember these items and what you have gone ahead and learned as a result of your assessment of Mr. Wilson may not necessarily be accurate.
Long-term memory and memory events that are very impactful tend to stick better than shoe, red, velvet.
Duh, that makes sense. People only remember what they're impacted by. It's called life. Like, unless you're a cop, you're not paying attention to
Mr.
every
Wilson goes
detail.
ahead and kills Miss Melton early in the morning, proceeds to attack Miss Montanez shortly thereafter, and then goes ahead and kills Ms. Diana Ruiz within a matter of 6 hours, and then goes ahead and reports that to Mr. Joshua Lukic. You'd agree with me, that's relatively short-term memory, would you not?
Those are major events. People tend to remember
Major events.
those are harder to
Forget.
I mean,
Let's
not
slide
demented.
by.
He just has some short-term memory loss.
He don't got memory loss and
He
he's
has
demented.
impairments. He's not totally out to lunch.
So, doctor, if he's not exactly out to lunch, then is it fair to say, sir, that Mr. Wilson can function in a normal society without a lot of those symptoms?
They said he's not out to lunch. His brain
I'm not
checks
saying he's
out.
incompetent.
This is
He
crazy.
has impairments that makes him more likely to be impulsive,
Can you
easily
stop
agitated,
with me?
and do things without consequence.
I don't know that.
You said that he couldn't think these things through.
Not in the moment. And in addition, because of amygdala
Calm yourself down, sir. Well, if he had atrophy, that in case that he would have some kind of loss of brain mass, correct?
he has a reduction in brain mass. It's not gone. The lateral horn of the temporal tip is a little.
He could have just said yes, one
Answer
straight
this
shot.
question. Correlate brain changes that you observe.
That's supposed to be the goal as a doctor. Say yes. He's having a problem. Say the basics. Yeah, thank you.
So what you're
Thank
telling
you.
us here today is that you would have been able to predict that Mr. Wilson would have gone ahead and
Had he did his work properly, he does. Oh, he does not look sure. He does not look confident. This doctor is a.
No, only that he would be more likely to than the average individual.
That's what they wanted to know as an expert. What sets him apart from other people besides the act that he did? Does it correlate to his brain rhythm? And he got to take a sip of water again. This guy, I don't know why they put him on a trial. I said, I don't know why they put him on the trial.
Reviewed was an
He didn't do his
CAT scan
homework.
from 2023. Is that correct?
A CAT
I have the
scan from
actual CAT
last
scan.
year.
Okay.
Did you look at that? At
That CAT
least?
scan was administered so head trauma in 2023.
Yes.
So he had head trauma that he didn't even report to you.
How about
On
that?
top of the other head trauma.
How about
he did
that?
report to you.
Correct.
So how do you correlate the two, Doc?
Now, just for clarification, CAT scan normally done at the hospital, like right after an accident.
Yes.
They don't always do an MRI.
No, MRIs are more
And-
expensive. They take long, and then emergency room to be very quick. CAT scans are quick, and they tell you what you need to know. They tell you whether there's a hemorrhage, again, skull fracture, epidural hematoma, things you're looking for.
Something that you want to know so that you can act in an exigent circumstance in order to stop that.
Bleeding, then there's really nothing to get overly concerned about. because if there's like intraparenchymal hemorrhage, then they'd be admitted for what?
It's supposed to give you some type of
Only if it's grossly abnormal.
But nothing in there stood out as being inconsistent with your diagnosis here. But I mean, he's in there reviewing, he's a neuropsychologist. He's not testing for the same thing that you are. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So as a result,
it's the Wi-Fi, John. It says I'm not near a router, so the Wi-Fi connection is going to be a little choppy. As they just put a sign here that said they thought I need to move closer to the router or plug it directly into. Yeah. Everything
General
I got.
atrophy, he'll have more atrophy in his frontal lobe and his temporal lobe. Find some impulsiveness, the agitation.
it's not going to regenerate brain tissue. Aware that he had consumed drugs that evening before he committed.
Drugs, yes.
Okay. Do you know what type of drugs?
No, because I was aware because I read it online somewhere.
Okay. Would
switch.
Crazy.
Likely resulted in this awful behavior.
Psychotic behavior. You killed. And look at his face. He doesn't really have remorse at all. You
I
know,
was asked to come back then. And,
parents couldn't control him.
well, a little bit more than 10 minutes. Come back at 10 minutes.
Come back in 10 minutes, guys.
11.
We're taking a break, okay? They take break, we take break. Break time. We all taking a break. I'll be back in 10. Thanks for watching. Love you guys. We're going to keep an eye on this Wade Wilson because he got a group of representatives with him. I think they must have paid some of these people. Okay, guys, 10 minutes. Coming back in 10 minutes.